Hello everyone, welcome to Success Sport. My name is Ayush Khurana. I cleared CLAT 2020 with an All India rank of 458 and currently I am pursuing my 5-year law integrated course, that is BBA LLB from Gujarat National Law University, Gandhinagar. So in this video, we will look at how to approach and solve a set of passage for English section effectively.
Okay. So before jumping right into the passage and solving it, let's look at what is the essential thing that you need in order to decode English section or any other section for that matter. So one of the most important things as per me is having a wide vocabulary base. Having excellent knowledge of different words and their meanings is extremely crucial, or what I would call sine qua non, that is absolutely essential for cracking an exam like CLAT or. So if you aspire to make it to one of the top 10 NLUs or top 5 NLUs, you need good vocabulary for that, because let's come to the point. You need to read the passages, and passages consists of sentences consists of words. So at the end of the day, you need to know the words and their meaning. Now the question arises, where do I find the vocabulary, or where do I find those words? So I'll suggest you 3 sources to start with, which are, as per me, so these are the sources that I would recommend you to use. So first is 30 Days to a More Powerful Vocabulary by Norman Lewis and Wilfred. It consists of 30 chapters and you can easily do a chapter in a day. So it amounts to 30 days and a chapter takes 30 minutes a day. So yeah, it's a good start. So the second book is Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis. This is by far one of the best vocabulary books you can get there in the market, and this is what I will call this is the Bible of vocabulary. That's what I call it. So yeah, this was the second source. Moving on to the third source. So the third thing is vocabulary, which comes in the news editorials, which you are going to read for the current affairs section as well. So when you will read the news editorials, you will come across a lot of words which you may have never heard of or which you have never seen before. So just write them down or jot them down and learn them. I will not even say learn them, but rather imbibe those words, because those words will become an asset of yours. They will pay dividends to you over the years. So that's how I used to approach the vocabulary. I never looked at the vocabulary only from the CLAT perspective, but looked at them as an intangible asset which I can possess. Now, let's look at how to approach a passage in English section and solve it effectively within a time frame and get those 5 answers right. So, okay, so some people say that start with reading the passage and then go to the questions. Some people say that just the opposite, that first look at the questions and then go to the passage. So what I do is a mix of both these two techniques, and personally I find this technique highly effective. Whenever I use it, I get around 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5 questions correct. Okay, so what I have done is I have divided this technique into 4 steps. Okay, so the first step is, when you encounter a passage, first of all, read top 2 sentences or lines and read bottom 2 sentences or lines. So what we will get by doing this is we will get a rough idea of what the passage is all about. You will have a rough idea and an outline about what the passage is all about. Okay, so this is the first step. The second step is glancing through the questions and solve the questions then and there only if they are of vocabulary or fact-based nature. Okay, so we will look at what the vocabulary or fact-based questions are there. So keep in mind there are 3 types of questions: vocabulary-based, fact-based and inference-based. Okay, so in the second step we will solve the vocabulary-based and the fact-based questions. Okay, now the third step is to go through the passage, read the complete passage. You need to go through the complete passage quickly, or you'll not be able to complete your paper, you need to have really good reading speed as well. Word of caution here, don't just read the passage. Okay, a lot of students make this mistake that we will complete the passage as fast as we can. Keep in mind, this is not a reading competition that who will read fastest. Okay, this is a competition in which you have to comprehend, you have to understand what the passage wants to convey. Okay, and then you have to solve the question. Okay, so a word of caution here, don't just read the passage but comprehend it, understand it as well. I will again stress on this word, that comprehend the passage rather than just reading the passage. Okay, so don't just read the passage but comprehend it, understand it as well. We are not in a competition of just reading faster, but we need to understand as well what we are reading. Okay, so moving on to the fourth step. So in the fourth step, we solve the inference type questions. So you can take a screenshot of this screen, that what are the steps in this order you have to solve the RC, approach the RC. Okay, so now let's try and solve a passage using this format. Okay, so once again, if you follow this format, you can solve the passage very effectively and in the shortest time possible. Believe me, it is one of the best techniques out there. Okay, now let's solve a passage using this format or technique. Okay, so the first step, what was our first step? We have to read top two sentences or lines and then bottom two sentences or lines. Okay, so this is this is a paper, this is a sample passage which I have taken for the reference. This is the passage which came in CLAT 2020, the actual CLAT 2020 paper. Okay, now the first step is reading the top two sentences of my I'll read the top two sentences of my passage. Okay, so the world has very few devices left to fight COVID-19 with, but technology remains one of them. Whether it is employing the state-of-the-art technology in the discovery of cures or vaccines, or traditional technology services to enhance healthcare and consultations, or even tools that keep people at home occupied productive, it is clear that technology will serve humanity at one of its darkest moments. Okay, I have read the top two sentences. Okay, now looking at the last two sentences, telemedicine's time is here finally. While unleashing the full potential of telemedicine to help people, experts and government agencies must be mindful of the possible inadequacies of the medium and securing sensitive medical information. Such cognizance should guide the use of technology. Okay, so I have read the top two sentences and bottom two sentences. So now we have a rough idea, an outline about what the passage is all about. Okay, so this passage talks about COVID-19. Okay, technology. Okay, it talks about healthcare workers, I mean healthcare, and then it talks about telemedicine. Okay, government agencies. So I roughly know that this passage is about revolving around COVID and telemedicine. Okay, now after this, in second step, we'll glance through the questions and solve the questions which are vocabulary based or fact based. Okay, so looking at our first question. So looking at the first question, which of the following words from the passage means unavoidable? So this is a vocabulary based question. Okay, so this forms the part of our second step, that in the second step we have to solve the vocabulary or fact based nature questions. Okay, so which one of the following words from the passage means unavoidable? So again, you need a good vocabulary base, as I mentioned earlier, because if you don't know the meaning of inexorable or myriad or excruciatingly, you won't be able to solve it. So basically unavoidable means inexorable. Inexorable is actually the thing which cannot be stopped. It goes on. Okay, so the answer to this question is 1, but let's look at the other options as well. Always remember one thing, that solve questions by eliminating options rather than choosing an option. Okay, so what I mean by this is, suppose let's solve this. Let's look at this question again. Which of the following words from the passage means unavoidable? Okay, so I think it's inexorable. Okay, but let's look at the other options as well. So myriad, no, myriad is not my answer. Excruciatingly, painfully, no, it is also not my answer. Bandwagon is also not my answer. Okay, so the inexorable is my answer. So always remember, always eliminate and then choose rather than just choosing. Okay, now looking at the second question, which one of the following, we are just glancing through the questions, okay, right now, this which we are in our second step. Okay, so which of the following best summarizes the main idea of the passage? So this is an inference based question, so we will solve it in our fourth step, so let's ignore this question for now. Okay, now looking at the third question, which of the following which of the following is a significant factor contributing in a slow employment of telemedicine in India? Okay, now let's go to the passage and try to find out where it is talking about telemedicine slow employment. Okay, so this is a fact based question. Now let's look at the passage. Okay, let's look at this line. However, it does not seem as if the medical community was only held back by the lack of legislation to enable teleconsultations, for no sooner was the policy announced than hospitals and clinics hurried to jump onto the bandwagon, advertising contact information for patients. The advantages are peculiar in the current context when putting distance between people is paramount, as teleconsultations are not barred even when healthcare professionals and patients may have to be quarantined. Okay, now which one of the following is a significant factor contributing in slow employment of telemedicine in India? Okay, so we read the relevant portion from the passage, and let's look at the options. So again, one thing, we will eliminate rather than choosing. Okay, so telemedicine was never employed in India. We just read that it was employed in 2000. Okay, this uh, this thing. Okay, so it was way back in 2000 that telemedicine was first employed in India, but the progress has been excruciatingly slow until the pandemic. So it was employed in way back in 2000. So first is not our answer, so we will eliminate this option here. Okay, there was an absence of regulations regarding the use of telemedicine consultations and medication systems. So this can be our answers, but let's look at the other options as well. All of above cannot be our answer because first has been eliminated by us. Okay, so the Telemedicinal Society of India failed in its efforts to promote the importance of such a system in the country. So the passage nowhere talks about the Telemedicinal Society. Okay, now we clearly have our answer with us, that is the B option. There was an absence of regulations regarding the use of telemedicine consultations and medication systems. Okay, we read it here, this thing, this legislation part. However, it does seem as if the medical community was only held back by the lack of legislation. Okay, now looking at the fourth question, telecommunication. Now the fourth question is again a fact-based question. Telecommunication-based medication has the potential for an easy outreach because, now again we will have to go to the passage and find its answer. Telecommunication-based medication has the potential for an easy outreach. Okay, so we'll look at where the passage talks about telecommunication based medication. Okay, so let's start reading from here. The advancement of telecommunication capabilities over the years has made the transmission of images and sound files, heart and lung sounds, coughs, faster and simpler. Pilot telemedicine experiments in ophthalmology and psychiatry have proven to be of immense benefit to the communities. Okay, so let's look here again. So telecommunication based medication has the potential for an easy outreach. So pilot experiments in telemedicine have been proved to be successful. We just read here. that pilot telemedicine experiment in ophthalmology and psychiatry have been proven to be of immense benefit. Okay, so this is a right option, but let's look at the other options as well. Okay, it helps in easier communication of medical images from one place to another. Okay, we also read this here, that it helps in, that has made the transmission of images and sounds for sound files faster and simpler. Okay, so first is also our answer, second is also our answer. So we will save our time and will not look at the third option. We will directly take the option D, all of the above. Okay, now moving on to a fifth question. So the fifth question is, remember we are in our second step and we are glancing through the questions and we are solving the vocabulary based as well as the fact based questions first. Okay, now so this is a question: what is the meaning of the expression shot in the arm used in the passage? Okay, so this is a idiom based question. So again, I will say that regarding the idioms, what I would say is, learn a few essential phrases beforehand, or you will have to make an intelligent guess looking at in what context the idiom has been used. Now let's refer to the passage and locate where this idiom has been used, shot in the arm. Okay, so the center's recent guidelines allowing for widespread use of telemedicine services came as a shot in the arm for the healthcare crusaders in the country, among them the Telemedicinal Society of India, that has long been battling to use the technology in its complete arc to reach remote areas in India. Okay, so the center's recent guidelines allowing for the widespread use of telemedicine services came as a shot in the arm for healthcare crusaders. So shot in the arm. So basically, shot in the arm. If you read it here, you will find that this. If you read it here, you will find that this context means that it is a positive idiom. So shot in the arm basically means to provide a stimulus, or to boost something. Okay, so looking at the options, hitting the nail on its head, no, it's not an answer. Bullseye, again, it's not an answer. Positive impact on something, so this is our answer. Okay, now looking at the we will go to the third step. So the third step is to go through the passage, read the complete passage. Okay, and read the complete passage quickly and effectively. Okay, so after you read the complete passage, you will have the complete idea of what the passage is about. You will get the main idea of the passage. Okay, now we will look at our fourth step. So in we solve the inference type questions. Okay, now once you have read the complete passage, you will get what the passage's complete context, and then you can solve the inference type questions by elimination again. Okay, so always use eliminations. Once again I will repeat, okay, because it drastically reduces your chances of marking the wrong option. So coming back to our question second, which we left to do in the fourth step. Okay, so which one of the following best summarizes the main idea of the passage? Okay, so we will have to eliminate here again the options, and then we will select the right option from it. So when you will read these options, when you have read the complete passage and then you will read these options, you will be easily able to eliminate and get the correct answer. Let's look at the options here. You'll have to read this passage for that. Okay, so let options here. It is the time to unleash. So coming back to our question second, which one of the following best summarizes the main idea of the passage? So this is the question, which is an inference based question. Again, we will solve this question by eliminating the option. Okay, now when you will read the complete passage, you will have the complete idea of what the passage is about. So let's look at the options here. So A says that it is the time to unleash the full potential of telemedicine. Okay, we will keep this option as reserved, and we will look at it again after reading the other options. So the B option says it is the time to unleash the full potential of telemedicine with cognizance of its possible flaws. Okay, so we will also keep this option with us. And C says technology has not been utilized to its fullest to suit the current needs. If you read the complete passage, it does not convey this thing. The main idea of the passage is not C, so we will eliminate the C option. Okay, so people should not be skeptical about the advantages of telemedicine. Again, the passage does not talks about people being skeptical about the advantages of telemedicine, or it is not the main idea of the passage. Okay, now we have two options left with us. It is the time to unleash the full potential of telemedicine. Okay, it is the time to unleash the full potential of telemedicine with cognizance of its possible flaws. Okay, now so the first option is not complete, whereas the B option is a complete answer. Okay, this is half complete. I mean, not half complete, but yeah, it is not complete, and the B option is complete. Option it correctly.
So if you follow the to approach a passage for you will get most of your